from Chicago, Illinois, needing 675 to make the finals, Carmen Salvino. Needing 696 to make the finals, the All-American from St. Louis, Dick Weber.
Everybody, and welcome once again here from the beautiful Emerson Lanes in the industrial city of Parkersburg, West Virginia, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. It's Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, the world's greatest bowlers in action every week. Over $75,000 in prizes. This is Spread Wolf, our final match in the qualifying rounds. Two more of our great stars in a three-game match. $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. All competition is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress. 300 games are worth $10,000. The bonus, $250 for 5 in a row in any one game. It'll be Carmen Salvino from Chicago, Dick Weber from St. Louis. They're shooting at Ron Ringer's, 1385 for his 6 games. Dave Sutar, the Detroiter, with 1365. And before we start the match this week, we thought we might call out the two youngsters who are here in Parkersburg, and they're going to be watching this match very closely. Ron, how are you? And Dave, how are you? Well, very briefly, Ron, you're on top. It means that both of these boys will have to beat you. Carmen needs 675. Dick needs 696. You're going to be sitting up there with us. Not going to be crossing your fingers or anything like that, are you?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. Dave, you are the boy that is going to have to do the crossing, because if either one beats your total, then you'll become a spectator next week.
Right, Fred.
Are you afraid of these? You ever hear of Dick Weber?
I've heard of him.
Did you ever hear of Carmen Salvino?
Yes, I have.
You have. I guess everybody's heard of Carmen one way or another. Well, we're about ready now. He's the great actor, you know. He won the Best Actor award some years ago, and nobody can touch him, so he hasn't received any other awards in that category. Today, this week, we're interested in both of these boys as bowlers. As I say, this is it for you two. This is it for Dick Weber and Carmen Salvino. Ready for the first game, Carmen Salvino from Chicago, a great comedian and a great bowler. What an assignment. Salvino needs 675. Dick Weber needs 696. Salvino in the first frame throws, and he is in there. Ron Winger, the youngster from Los Angeles, with 1385 for his 6 games. That's a 231 average. Dave Sutar, the youngster from Detroit, 1365. This is the final match. The finals, of course, start next week with a $15,000 added purse. Dick Weber is in, shakes them up. A lot of action in the left corner, but the 7-pin is still up there. Dick Weber, 2-time national individual match game champion. One of 3 men to win that title 2 years in a row, joining the great Andy Papa and Don Carter. Dick Weber, an All-American on any man's bowling team. At the 7, he covers the spread. Both these boys wearing, as all of our bowlers do on Championship Bowling, the King Louis bowling shirt and slack, with all the freedom of movement that you would want. Weber moves left, sitting in with us this week, Dave Sutar, the young Detroiter. And Dave, I don't want to see you crossing your fingers here, because you're in the real bad seat right now. Weber throws. He's there, and there's the strike for Dick Weber. That might have been a double. Salvino moves in now, the right side. Carmen goes in with 691. He defeated Jimmy St. John from Chicago. Weber lost to Dave Sutar with 670. Salvino for the double is too high. In the middle. Leaves the 610. Carmen opened at his first match with 235, followed with 224.
finished with 232. But things are a little different this week. Carmen knows exactly what he needs. He can't make too many mistakes. 675, that's a 225 average. At the 610, he covers the spare. Carmen, the highest average man on championship bowling in our field of 24 bowlers here this year at Parkersburg. He's averaging 219 per game for 27 games. He's a pretty tough boy, isn't he, Dave?
He sure is, Fred.
Carmen cocks that wrist, little finger on top of the ball, throws too tight again, and he got away with one. The 4-7 out of there. And Carmen displaying his muscles. They call a hit like that a fudge nudger. Don't they, Dave? I've heard that expression. I think that's something that Al Savas started some years ago. Dick Weber, St. Louis. They call him the Thin Man. On a strike, the first double of the match. Could be. No, sir. Not there. He breaks it up. Nothing but the 6-pin. Both Weber and Salvino playing the deep inside angles. And I believe that both Ron Winger and Dave have played that same angle in their 2 appearances. Sutar had 705 and 660. Winger 686 and 699. The cover, and Weber has the spare. Ron Winger sitting just to Dave's right, and both of these boys very interested, and they'd like to stay in Parkersburg to start the finals next week. The finals will be 6 games over 2 weeks. Total pins, $10,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. We're in the 4th. Weber is back in that 1-3 pocket. So both boys have 2 strikes on the left side. We're looking for our first strike on the right side. And Ronnie Winger says that this is his favorite side. Most of the boys think this is the tough side. Too tight. This time the 4-pin. Carmen didn't get the kick. Seems like they're playing it pretty tight here on the right side, Dave.
Yes, they are, Fred. Excuse me. Both are very deep on 38. I think that from that angle, they are trying to kick the 4. They'll be able to kick the 4 or more.
Of course, they've both come over here on strikes every frame. And I believe there's just a little difference in going to a lane whether you're on a spare or on a strike, isn't there? You're sort of conscious of that double. You're going to squeeze it a little bit or be a little careful. Salvino now moves to the left. It's 20, 40, 60 for both boys. No doubles. Big turn. Here it comes. 10-pin stops him this time. The Chicago match game champion in 52 and again in 1954. Mrs. Salvino, better known as Jenny by all of her many friends, can average 190. And Carmen very proud of the fact. He said, when I married her, she only averaged 170. Well, Salvino covers the 10-pin. He wasn't too sure of it. And he gives the boys the eye there in the first row. Salvino, now 79 with a spare. Here's Dick Weber going after the first double of the match. That's out there. And the 5-pin and one of Weber's favorite hits, kicking out the 5-7. Dick couldn't kick that one loose, so we still do not have a double. And we're halfway in the first game. And I'm sure that Ron Winger and Dave Sutar right now are breathing rather easily because they've got to get doubles to shoot the totals they need. There's the cover. So at the end of 5 in the first game, Weber is 80 spare, Salvino is 79 spare. Weber to the left. Lots of room. Here it comes. And Mr. Weber has another one on the left side. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. A Dutch 200 coming up for Weber, and he better master the right side. Salvino moves in on the right. Neither one of these boys hit any bonus money in their first appearance. That's got enough room. There it is. So Carmen, the great swinger, gave that one enough room, and now we'll move to his favorite side. And what do you think the chances are for the first double of the match, Dave?
I think the chances are pretty good. 37 seems to swing a little more, and he finishes a little more.
We've lost 1 pin in count in 6 frames for each bowler. Big swing, wind it up. There it is. There's the first double. And that should break the ice, and Mr. Weber moves in now on the right side. Born in Indianapolis in 1930, moved to St. Louis in 1955. Father of 4 fine youngsters. And Mr. Weber has the double. And now the boys are on the move. 99 double for Salvino, 100 and the double for Weber. Weber moves left. In the first 23 matches here in Parkersburg, West Virginia, on Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, $6,000 have been paid out in bonus prizes, bonus money. 5 in a row. One more. There it is. Oh, dynamite. So Weber now with 3, both boys getting a slow start, but they're beginning to get the line. Let's see if Carmen can master the right side. He's on a double. He needs this one to stay within 1 pin of his opponent. He's out there. There's another one. Well, the last half of this game, Dave, not like the first half.
Well, this should be a very good match. Both boys were very sharp in practice.
Salvino needs 675 to top Dave Sutar by 1 pin. Weber needs 696. Too high, and he got away with one. What a break that is. Well, that could be a very big strike for Carmen Salvino. That gives him a 4-bagger. That gives him his 220 game. He must average 225. Sam Slater, the popular sportscaster of WTAP TV here in Parkersburg, in the audience this week. Sam, not a bowler himself, but a very great fan. Weber on 3. He needs this one in the night. He sets it. He's got it. And look at these boys go. And now both Salvino and Weber are knocking on the door for #5, the 5th strike worth $250. Every strike on top of that worth $50 additional. Weber will finish this game first. He has a chance for $250. Salvino, $249. #5, the big turn. He's there. He has the first one. So that's the first 5-bagger for Dick Weber. In his first appearance against Dave Sutar, he shot 670. So this week, the big start. Much better than his first appearance. He is on 5. He throws one out. And there is #6. As Weber begins to line them up here. Dick won the toss, incidentally, and elected to finish on the left in both the first and third games. So it's paying off for Weber right now here in the first game. Weber left a 7-pin in the first frame, came back with a strike, then he was too high. Left the 6-pin. He's been in the pocket ever since. One more. There it is. All the way home. All the way home for Dick Weber, one of the real great champions. They call him the Cracker, the Splinter, the Thin Man from St. Louis. Salvino with 4 in a row. Bonus money coming up for the big Chicagoan. He's there, and he carries. Well, these boys did a little feeling out in the first 5 frames. We didn't have a double for the first 6 frames, actually. They both struck in the 6th. Weber went all the way, and Salvino is 2 strikes away from going all the way. Once more, he sets it. He's there. So the bonus money now beginning to move in great shape. If you would like to take the last 5 frames for each of these boys, you could have 11 in a row, and Carmen Salvino now going for the 12th in a row. It'll be a split 300 in the last 5 frames. 7 strikes in a row for each man.
Yes, sir! How about that? A great finish by Salvino, who was on the spot. He needed all 3 strikes to get within 1 pin of his opponent. The first game of 3. Weber, 250. Salvino, 249. And Davy, my boy, how about that?
2 beautiful games, Fred. That's all I
2
can
beautiful
say.
games. You're still smiling. There's 2 to go. They still got to knock them down. We'll be back for the second game of 3. Don't you go away. This is Fred Wolf along with Dave Sutar from Detroit, sitting in with us this week on Championship Bowling. It's the final match before the big finals that start next week. We'll see you in just a minute.
Here are the scores for the first game, ladies and gentlemen, and what a terrific finish. For Carmen Salvino, 249. Wasn't enough. Dick Weber, 250. How about that? Did you enjoy that? Both boys finishing with 7 strikes in a row. That means we had 14 strikes, and they're still going. The bonus money in pretty good shape. We're ready for the second game, and I'm sure Parkersburg is ready. Are you all? Yeah.
Dick Weber from St. Louis, moving in on the left side, starting the second game. He opened with 250. He needs 696. He's on a string of 7 in a row.
Throws 1 more. That's 8 in a row.
Carmen Salvino, who finished his first game with 7 in a row. So for Carmen, he'll try to continue his string. Bonus money, each man cashing in for $350. It starts all over now. Too high for Carmen, leaves the 6 pin. Weber, 250. Salvino, 249. 2 games to go. Salvino needs 675. So actually, he has about 21 pins on Weber. He lost 1 pin in the first game. So Weber still thinking about getting 20 pins to get Salvino. But I'm sure he's interested in that 696. Of course, Weber could get 696 if Salvino gets 675. The difference will be what they get over the required amount to pass Dave Sutar, who is the number 2 man. Winger has 1385. Salvino needs 695 to top Winger. Weber needs 716 to top Weber. There's the 4 pin, and Salvino begins to crowd. Well, that's 2 frames for Salvino, Dave. Dave Sutar, the man in jeopardy here in the second position, sitting in with us this week. And I'm sure he's been riding quite a few of these balls. That was a great finish, wasn't it, Dave?
It sure was, Fred. You couldn't see a better finish.
Salvino with the cover.
So Carmen actually could get his 675, but he's got to watch Dick Weber, because if Dick gets too far away from him, he would have to think about topping Ron Winger if Weber can pass Winger with the 716 that he needs. Dick is on a strike, a string of 8. Too high, and he leaves the 4 pin. So we start out the second game, much like the first. No doubles, first 2 frames. Weber with 250. So he's probably going to set his sights on Ron Winger. That would mean that he will need still a couple of good ones to get 716. There's the cover, and Weber moves to the left. You've watched this boy in action, Dave, I'm sure, many, many times. Just a little fella, weighs 127 pounds. What do you think stands out in your mind as the finest part of his game?
The finest part of Weber's game.
Pretty good pocket shooter.
Oh, terrific, yes.
Holds the ball pretty tight. Nice reach. Too high, doesn't kick the 4.
I think that for Weber, he can adjust so rapidly and is a very good pocket shooter. He's always in the pocket or just around it. And if you have the proper roll on the ball, you can't beat it. The pins have to fall down.
Well, he's only had one ball out of the pocket, actually, so far. A couple of 4 pins. He was on the nose in the 3rd frame on a strike, left a 6-pin. Through the 5th frame, neither Salvino nor Weber had a double. They both struck out, starting in the 6th. For 7 in a row for each man. Salvino now with a big strike. So Carmen moves to the left, and he has the chance for the double. Weber was unable to get his double. Dick started with a strike, followed with 2 4-pins. Carmen Salvino, Chicago's king of bowling in 1957. He's been a big man on the Professional Bowling Association's tour. Winter tour, he averaged 205. Wind it up. There's the big double. And right now, Mr. Salvino is on his way, and that 675 doesn't seem too far away, Dave. Dick Weber now, in on the right, former Indianapolis match game champion. He's won about every title you can win, this fella. Be careful. Oh, he didn't exactly know where that one was going. That ball fell right back in the pocket.
Right,
Dave,
that
did you
ball.
notice?
I saw that. Seen the hole right there.
Well, that's what you mentioned. He's able to adjust, and there was a great application of instinct in my mind.
He has that last-minute touch.
He knew he was a little off his line. He didn't give the ball the turn he normally does. He just set it, let it roll. He was in solid in the 5th for the double. Weber throws. He's there, and he has the double.
That looked like the same type of ball, Fred.
Both boys now starting a little early this game. If they can keep their strings going this game, both Mr. Winger and Mr. Sutar will have something to worry about. Salvino's out. He's back. He's in there for number 3. So at the end of 5, the match is halfway. Salvino is 39 in the 2nd, working on 3. Weber, 59 in the 3rd, working on 2. Salvino, known as the Spook, from Chicago, a great actor, must turn, and he got that one. Oh, there was dynamite that time, Davey. You haven't seen a better ball than that, I'm sure, in some time.
That's very good.
Number 3, very great for Salvino, but a little sad for Dave Sutar. These boys keep going. Mr. Ron Winger is in jeopardy, too. It could be Weber and Salvino in the finals, which start next week. But Weber needs 716. Oh, there's another one. And the boys have started a little early this game. Repeating, in case you tuned in late. In the 1st game, Dick Weber was 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. No doubles through the 5th. He got a strike in the 6th. Salvino was 99 in the 5th with a strike in the 6th. They both went all the way, 7 in a row for each man for 249 and 250. Now, Weber is on 3, Salvino is on 4, Weber is on 4, and now we knock here for bonus money again. Weber on 4. He'll be going for bonus money. We're in the 7th frame of the 2nd game. Up steps Carmen Salvino, who is on 4. Pin for Carmen Salvino with 4 strikes in a row, and the bonus money gets away from the Chicagoan. Pretty good hit. He seemed to swing a little wide with that one,
Yes,
Dave,
he
wouldn't you
did.
say?
He seemed to send it out and try to hook it a little more than usual.
He has been holding a tight inside line here on the right side. At the 10-pin cross lane, Salvino has to spare. And he had to sort of go into a little dance out there at the foul line. This is the final match of the qualifying rounds. Carmen Salvino from Chicago needed 675 to top Dave Sutar in the number 2 position. There it is. Oh, that 10-pin. And now Dick Weber, who trails Salvino by 20 pins for the first 4 games. In his first appearance, Weber had 670, Salvino 691. Weber needs 446 to top Sutar. He's on 4. He throws number 5. And now our bonus money has reached $6,950, and there is Mrs. Weber, Mrs. Juanita Weber, mother of 4 wonderful youngsters, here with Richard this week, and of course hoping that things will work out. Weber is on 5. Now begins to close the gap on Salvino. Dick Weber, the great All-American. One more.
He's down on both knees, and that is 6 in a row.
So Mr. Weber now has caught Salvino, unless Carmen gets this one. Weber leading in this, the second game, by 11 pins. He won the first game by 12. So Salvino needs this one to stay 8 pins out in front. He's got it. So the greatest actor in bowling, Carmen Salvino, matches Weber's double. We go into the 10th frame. There is still room for Salvino to pick up 5 in a row, and 258. Both boys could be over 500 for their first 2 games. Then they're not going to need too much in the 3rd game. We could see these 2 fellas for the next 2 weeks in the finals. Hurry up. He's got it. Look out, Carmen. Well, Carmen loosening himself up. That's 3 in a row. And now Mr. Weber has got to get the first one in the 10th. As Carmen gives his Am-Flight Magic Line bowling ball a little smacker, he'd like this one. He's on 3. Lost a 10 pin after 4. The big turn. Here it comes. It's there. The 4th pin stops him, and Dick Weber now can go all the way and be out in front of Carmen Salvino with 1 game to go. $1,000 here to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. But I'm sure both Weber and Salvino are thinking of one total, the magic total to get in the finals, where there's a $15,000 added first. There's the 4th pin covered, as Salvino gave the folks a thrill here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Salvino, 249 and 247. Dick Weber on a string of 6. Every strike worth $50 additional. The great All-American from St. Louis is in there with another one. So Dick Weber strings them out. The same as the first game. In the first game, he started in the 6th frame, went all the way for 7 in a row. This game, he started in the 4th frame. And this one and 1 more will take him all the way. $350 in bonus money in the first game. This one, $350 more. There it is, and the 5-7 up there. He kicks out the 5, leaves nothing but the 7 pin. And that's actually a break for Salvino, because Mr. Weber's beginning to close in. But both of these boys are closing in on the 2 youngsters, Ron Winger from Los Angeles, Dave Sutar from Detroit, who are in the audience this week watching this great exhibition of pocket shooters. In the second game, Dick Weber the winner with 258, Carmen Salvino 247, Fred Wolf, along with Dave Sutar and Ron Winger, sitting up here with us watching this great exhibition. We'll be back for the 3rd game, the big game, which will determine our 2 finalists for the $15,000 added purse, which starts next week on Championship Bowling Television's #1 bowling show from Parkersburg, West Virginia. See you in just a little minute.
Here are the scores at the end of 2 games, ladies and gentlemen, and one of the finest bowling matches I've ever seen. Carmen Salvino, 249 and 247. His total is 496. For Dick Weber, 250 and 258. Weber's total, 508. Oh, boy. How do you like this? Huh? Well, we'll give you the statistics. They're very simple. Salvino needs 199 to top Ron Winger, and Dick Weber needs 208. The boys are ready. Is Parkersburg ready?
We're ready to go. The third and final game. Carmen Salvino from Chicago needs 199 to top Ron Winger. Dick Weber needs 208. The margin between Salvino and Weber is 9 pins. Salvino is out in front. It's very important here. It's just possible that if Salvino or Weber cannot get their totals to top Winger, that Ron could sneak in and one of these boys will finish first, the other third. It could happen. We'll watch it. Every ball is very important. There's the cut for Salvino. Now, for 199, obviously, Salvino will need at least a double without an open. For 208, Weber probably will need a triple. 208 with a double would be just a little difficult, losing only 2 pins in count. Weber throws. He's there. He's in there. Bonus money has now reached $7,050. Two great champions, Carmen Salvino from Chicago, Dick Weber, the All-American from St. Louis, turning it on as two youngsters, Ron Winger from Los Angeles, Dave Sutar from Detroit. They were 1-2, sitting in the audience, sweating it out. And there's a washout, the 1-2-10, and now it begins to get tense. The ball begins to get heavy. $15,000 worth of bowling ball. It can get heavy. Dick Weber, that's the first time we've missed a head pin in this match. The 1, the 2, the 10, the AMF Spearmaker indicates the ball between the 1 and the 2. The head pin should hit the 10, and Mr. Weber is open, and that 208 certainly is not on the score sheet yet. Salvino now moving in, a chance to pick up 10 pins on Weber. This is important for Carmen. Carmen needs 199 to top Ron Winger. There it is. Now, actually, to get in the finals, Salvino doesn't really need 199. All he has to do is stay ahead of Dick Weber, because he only needs 179 to top Dave Sutar, who is in the second spot. The top 2 men return next week, starting a 6-game match over the final 2 weeks of championship bowling from Parkersburg, West Virginia for the double. Salvino has it. So right now, Carmen is the king, 199. He has 7 frames to go. He has the double if he can fill every frame the rest of the way out. Weber needs 188 to top Dave Sutar. He's in trouble. He has an open frame. He's on the nose, and he has another open frame. The 4-6, and Ron Winger now breathing a little easier as the Los Angeles youngster can still make it, as Weber finds this, the third and final game, just quite a challenge, and he hasn't answered that challenge yet. His second open frame in 3. So Dick will have to put on the big finish. He moves to the left. We're in the 4th. Weber reaches, gives it room, and there's the strike. So Dick Weber now really on the spot. Carmen Salvino thinking of one thing. Fill the last 7 frames. It could be worth an additional $10,000. That goes to the champion. The big turn. Plenty of room. Here's Carmen. He's got it. And Salvino now getting on easy streak. Carmen missed bonus money in the second game. He had 4 in a row and left a 10 pin. He came back with 3 in a row and left the 4 pin. Still room for bonus money in the 10th frame. 4 of the greatest games you'll ever see. Salvino with 249 and 247. Weber with 250 and 258. Salvino in the 5th on 3. Too high. 4-9. A big break for Salvino. He could have had the 4-9. Looked like a good ball, though, Dave, but that one moved.
It seemed to cut at the end. That lane seems to take a little more than 38.
Well, it seems obvious that even these two great stars, when the chips are down, the tendency is to give that ball just a little more turn than usual.
Hurry up, Carmen. Wind it up. So Salvino now resting. He's on easy street with 5 frames to go. Just fill the frames, and Salvino will make the finals. For Dick Weber, well, it's just a little tougher. He needs 188 to top Sutar. That, of course, will not be any good. He must top Winger. So he needs 208. There's the ball. There's the double. So it looks right now, we're halfway. Salvino, 99 spare. Weber is on 2 at the end of 5. We're in the 6th. A big double. And there's number 3. So Weber now has picked up his 2 open frames. He has lost 3 pins in count. He needs 2 more strikes for 208. Salvino up there playing it a little cozy, and he has a tough one. A 4-pin leave. That's a 6-pin count. The AMF Magic Triangle Pindicator indicates 2, 4, 5, 8. The Spearmaker indicates the ball between the 2 and the 5. This could wipe out Carmen's triple. He's got to have it. He got just a piece of the 8-pin. Oh, he didn't get much of that 8-pin, did he, Dave?
Close.
Salvino in the 7th. Throws it up. He's there and leaves the 10-pin. Carmen on his knees. He needs 199. He has a turkey going. No opens. Repeating, he must fill the last 4 frames. For Weber, it's a much bigger task. Weber needed 208. He was open in the 2nd and 3rd. He's on a triple. He needs 2 more. Look out, Salvino in the channel. And things begin to get just a little tight for both Salvino and Weber, and this is the biggest ball Weber has thrown on championship bowling. Dick Weber, the splinter, the thin man, one of the real great All-Americans. From St. Louis, Missouri, the crowd beginning to murmur as Weber steps up, throws that ball in that pocket. Solid 10-pin, and that could have been a $10,000 leave. The toss of the towel, he knew what that strike meant. There's still room. Weber needs a turkey after the conversion of this 10-pin. 208, the magic number for Weber. Weber in the 8th. Better get it. He's got it. And that 10-pin, ladies and gentlemen, which was in just about as tight as you could put it, could have been a $10,000 leave for Dick Weber. Salvino is open, 199. He must mark in the last 3 frames. No mistakes. There's the strike. So Salvino out in front of Weber by 7 pins in this, the 3rd and final game. Salvino has 16 pins on Weber. This is quite important because Ron Winger still could be in between these 2 fellas, assuming one of them beats Winger. If the other one doesn't, the difference between their 2 scores is important, and there's a 5-7, and now Salvino is in trouble. 199. Salvino needs the 5-7 on a strike. If Salvino does not cover this, the 5-7, he will be 171 in the 9th. He will need a double. He needs the spare. He turned it in! Ladies and gentlemen, what a clutch shot. Carmen Salvino from Chicago. That could have been a $10,000 conversion of a 5-7 split. Remember that one. Now Salvino needs a mark in the 10th. Oh, he needed that one. Dick Weber from St. Louis. He must shoot 208. He needs this strike. He cannot shoot 208 without that strike. He does not carry the 4-pin, and it looks like Ronnie Winger from Los Angeles will hang on.
to be number 2 man for the finals, but we'll have to wait. Dick Weber, who left the solid 10-pin on a triple in the 7th, the 4-pin here on a tight hit, covers the spare and moves to the left. The best that Weber can get is 206. He will be 2 pins short. Ronnie Winger from Los Angeles, California, the youngest bowler to ever be a finalist on championship bowling, watches Weber hit the nose in the 10th, and he leaves the 6-10. Say, if you're tired of talking about a better world and want to help build one, why not join the Peace Corps? Any qualified citizen over 18 is eligible. For information, write Peace Corps, Washington 25, D.C. Dick Weber started this game with a strike. He needed 208. In the 2nd frame, just threw it out too far. The washout, the 1-2-10, he did not convert it. He made a slight adjustment, hit the nose in the 3rd, left the 4-6. Then the triple, the big triple. Then the solid 10-pin in the 7th. He came back with a strike in the 8th. He had 1 way to go. He needed 2 more. Unable to answer the challenge, settles for 194. He is 14 pins short of Ron Winger of Los Angeles. Here is Carmen Salvino in the 10th. And he takes a good look at the 4-7, neither of which moved, but Carmen needs this spare for his 199. Actually, Carmen doesn't need the spare to be a finalist, but he needs the spare to be the number 1 finalist. The 4 and the 7, Salvino has it. Well, Davy, just too much bowling out there, and that means you're going to be the number 3 man, which makes you a spectator.
That's right, Fred. They bowl terrific out there.
Our sympathy, boy. We thought we'd have a couple of youngsters going over the next 2 weeks, but Ron Winger hangs on. So Salvino with 201, ladies and gentlemen. He needed 199. 2 pins over the 199. Dick Weber could not get his 208. So it's Carmen Salvino, the number 1 man. Ron Winger, the number 2 man. We'll have a word or two with these 2 great champions. This is Fred Wolf, along with Dave Sutar, the young Detroiter, and a sad conclusion for Dave. Dave, we're sorry, but this is the way the game goes.
That's right, Fred. Can't beat that bowling.
We'll see you right after this interesting message.
Here are the official scores, ladies and gentlemen. For Dick Weber, 250, 258. He needed 208 in the 3rd game, 194. His total, 702. For Carmen Salvino, 249, 247. He needed 199. He got 201, 2 pins more than he needed. His total, 697. For the 6 games, Salvino, 1388. For the top spot, Dick Weber, 1372 for the 3rd spot. Ron Winger and Carmen Salvino will be the finalists. Ladies and gentlemen, how did you like this match? Let's call out Dick Weber. Richard, the winner here this week. Oh, I got a little business to do with you here, but that solid 10, when was that? 8th frame?
Well, yes,
frame?
that hurt. That was one of the key hits that hurt. But I think the 2nd and 3rd frame of the last game, I rushed my shots a little bit, causing the opens, and that's how it went.
That's how it went. You were just a couple of pins short. I repeat, and this has happened so many times, when you left the washout, the 1-2-10, which I believe was on the left side, I imagine it was on your mind. You wanted to get the next one up, and that up popped the 4-6. That was the damaging ball, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Actually, Fred, lane 38 here was hooking a little bit more for me, and yet it was more or less settling for me if I was high. But I just pushed the ball up a little bit, rushed the shot a little bit.
That one didn't settle,
Nope.
And that was a $10,000 ball, really.
That's very true.
Or that 10-pin. Well, Dick, it's a pleasure here. You're the winner. You beat the great Carmen Salvino, which is quite an accomplishment.
Isn't it, Carmen? Now, there's $1,000 for winning your match, which
Thank
is
you.
pretty close, 702 to 697. Bonus money in the first game, 7 in a row, $350.
Thank you.
Bonus money in the second game, $350. And if you'd like, I'll pass these over to your wife.
Well, she'll get him soon enough.
She'll
but
get
I-
'em
I want to
soon
hold
enough.
on to him.
All right. Thank you very much, Dick. Speaking of the match now, over the next 2 weeks, 6 games, total pins, Carmen Salvino. Let's say the veteran against the youngster Ron Winger from Los Angeles. It looks like it ought to be a pretty good go.
I think so, Fred. I think we'll see some terrific scores between these two boys.
I wouldn't ask you to pick a winner, but...
I'd be afraid to pick a winner, but I can't take the veteran over the youngster or the youngster over the veteran. But I know we'll all be in for a good show.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. One of our great champions, Dick Weber. Good luck to you, boy. Well, let's just briefly have Dave Sutar step out here. He was with us this week at the microphone, and kind of a sad thing, really. Dave was hoping that he might be here the next 2 weeks. But it just didn't happen, Dave. Well, I'm going to ask you, who you picking now for the next 2 weeks? You going to stick with the kids?
I would like to.
You'd like to stay. Well, I can't blame you. After all, Carmen's been around for these many years. Ron is a youngster coming up. You're a youngster coming up. You did a great job here for us. And I would imagine your pick would be Ron Winger. I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I'm not against Salvino.
Neither am I.
Neither are you.
Sometimes.
Would you like to make a prediction on the match, Dave, officially?
Well, I'll go with Winger.
You'll go with Winger. Good luck to you, Dave Sutar from Detroit. Well, Wing Ding Winger will have one good supporter over the next 2 weeks. Let's call him out, Carmen Salvino. I bow to the greatest actor in the game. There's your bonus money, my boy, $350. You were the loser. There's your $500. But you were the big winner. You needed $199. You came through with $201. That makes you a finalist. Carmen, congratulations.
Thank you. Now, am I going to get a chance to say a few words
Right
without interruption?
now, here's the microphone. There you
Haven't
are.
you been... Wait a minute, I want you here.
Oh, you go
I
ahead.
don't want you to
Oh,
leave.
you want me here?
Haven't you been needling me about getting old and all that stuff?
Well, Carmen,
And
yes.
also, wait a minute, don't interrupt me. Last week, didn't you introduce the match as Carmen Salvino and the great Dick Weber?
I did.
There's no question in my mind that Dick Weber is a great bowler, but I did fly from Chicago just to pace these boys.
Mm-hmm. Well, you lost to Weber here this week.
I don't see how I lost. I lost $500 to shoot for $10,000. Not to me, that's a winner.
That's a winner. Carmen, you're absolutely right. Have you said everything you want to say?
Well, I enjoyed being on the show as usual, and have real nice fans, how do you really do?
That's
and
right.
For this youngster, I'm not that old.
You're not that old. Stay right here, boy. Let's bring him out here. Ron Winger from Los Angeles. All right. Now, boy. Oh, getting friendly already? Now, let's see. Speaking of a youngster, you're about, what, 22 years old?
22.
22-year-olds. You're about what, 50?
20.
Right?
Pardon me? Speak too well.
How long have you been in the game?
29 years old. I've been bowling professional for 12 years.
For 12 years, and Ronnie, of course, is just an up-and-comer. It'll be 6 games. I think it'll be a great match. $10,000 to the winner. By the way, Ronnie, $10,000 must sound like a pretty big amount of money for you, doesn't it?
I guess, 10,000.
You guess. You think your girlfriend out there in Los Angeles will be happy when you come back with
Well,
10?
I know my mom will, and
Your mom
I imagine everybody else will, too,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
me.
Especially you. Of course, you get 5 if you lose, which
Well,
is not
that
bad.
ain't bad. That ain't bad at all.
That isn't bad for a youngster.
Well,
Remember that.
it's just a-
Carmen, 6 games. You got a fireball here, and you, of course, are the artist, let's say.
I've got a little speed too, you know.
You have a little speed, too. I think it'll be a great match, and I know everybody in Parkersburg will be here next week and the following week for the finals on championship bowling here at the beautiful Emerson Lanes. Now, I'll give you the rules, fellas. 6 games, total pins. So what happens the next week isn't too important if you can come back and get even the following week.
You get 100 pins ahead the first week. That isn't bad.
That isn't bad. Is that your plan, Carmen, to get 100 pins ahead in the first
I
3
can talk
games?
to the boy before we bowl a match.
You'll never go for that, Ron?
No deal.
Do you have any plan
I'm staying
at all?
away from that boy.
Do you have any plan of what to do with this fellow over the next 2 weeks?
Yes, I'm going to be 100 pins ahead after the first match.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Ronnie Wingers, good luck to you, boy. Stay in shape. Carmen, good luck to you. See you both next week. Well, it ought to be a great one, and don't you? Next 2 weeks, total pins for 6 games for the championship of championship bowling from Parkersburg, West Virginia, here at the beautiful Emerson Lanes. Hope you can join us next week when Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show with over $75,000 in prizes, will wind it up over the next 2 weeks. $10,000 to the winner, $5,000 to the runner-up. So from the heart of the Ohio Valley in Parkersburg, this is Fred Wolf reminding you once again that you don't have to play a sport good to be a good sport. Thank you.
Matching shirts and slacks used on championship bowling by King Louie. Championship Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, and we wish to thank AMF for their cooperation in helping us to produce Championship Bowling.